Hello, everybody. Kevin Walsh here, as always, on WICR. Going to be recapping week 6 of the NFL season. Now, a lot of big games and a lot of good storylines to see after this week. Thursday night, something happened that definitely does jump out at you. The Atlanta Falcons going into New Orleans, who had looked horrible, being honest, truthfully, all season long, took their first loss of the season. And I think that this was a big game here. It showed that the Atlanta Falcons were not a very good 5-0 team. That they, they were 5-0 due to not playing some of the best teams and some late game wins. They beat the Giants on a late game comeback. They beat the Eagles, where in one half the Falcons did dominate, and then the other half they got absolutely dominated. But their first half was just a little bit better than the Eagles' second half. They went on, they played the Cowboys, and this is when they were Tony Romo-less and Des Bryant-less. So they got the victory there. They played the Texans, who are really, just being honest, they're real bad this year. They're not very good. And then they played the Redskins, who gave them an extremely tough matchup. The Falcons actually had to go to overtime, and they won on a walk-off pick six. And I think right there, a lot of people kind of said, oh, well, maybe it was just a tough game, or maybe this team just or maybe this shows that this team's going to have some tough games. It's the National Football League, and it's going to show some resiliency. Well, I think that Thursday night really showed who the Falcons are. I'm not saying that they're a terrible team, but I just don't think that they're all that good of a team. Now, their schedule is very, very easy, and I think that their record is going to, it's going to get them into the playoffs, but I don't view the Falcons as Super Bowl contenders, as NFC title contenders. But I think that is something you can see from this team after that loss to the Saints. Now, another game here, I'm going to be going over the big games. Maybe a couple I'll skip over. The Jets' big victory over the Redskins, 34-20, and the game did start slow for the Jets. They did not come out looking all that good. They were actually down at halftime, 13-10. Obviously, they fixed that right up. They won the third quarter 17-0, and that was really the big difference in the game. But what right now for the Jets is the biggest thing is the way their offense is winning them games. I mean, this team was supposed to win games 13-10, 9-6. It was supposed to be, defense. They'll run the ball, and Geno Smith is hopefully going to be good enough. Well, he gets, obviously the preseason punch in the face knocks him out. Fitzpatrick has definitely looked like he is good enough. Has worked very well with Eric Decker and Brandon Marshall. Decker has been real good. I know he had that fumble, but he's been he's been a touchdown machine. Brandon Marshall, 4 straight 100+ yard receiving games, and the receiving cores look great. And Chris Ivory right now on a game-by-game basis, best running back in football. Even better than that of Devontae Freeman on a yard basis. I know Freeman's got him beat by a lot in touchdowns, but the production that Ivory is given has been amazing, just absolutely amazing, and they can really trust him. When they need to. Runs for $146 and does it all, with ease, right over this Redskins defense. So it has been extremely impressive the way their offense has stepped up, and I think that is going to be a big takeaway for this team. Is that maybe on days where their defense doesn't have it, that's okay. maybe they can rely on their offense to win them some games. And I think maybe you have to say to yourselves, maybe the Jets are a complete football team. The Jets, I'll talk about it a little bit later on the show. The Jets have a huge game coming up, going to Foxborough, playing the Patriots, the undefeated Patriots, who have looked like the best team so far this season. Will the Jets win that one? I'm not sure, but if they can keep it close, that says a lot about the Jets, and I think that's something to definitely keep an eye on. Now, this next game here, really frustrating. The Arizona Cardinals take their second defeat of the season and lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now the Steelers are a good team. Both teams are 4-2 now after that week. Here's where my frustration lies. ESPN power ranks teams after the week is over. And they ranked the Cardinals as the fourth best team in football. Better than the Cincinnati undefeated Bengals. They moved them ahead of the Bengals after they lost to the Steelers, with the Steelers using their third-string quarterback. Now, I'm not going to sit here and complain and rant on ESPN all day. I would just really love to get some type of understanding on how that happens. I don't think the Arizona Cardinals are that good of a team. I do think they're the best team in their division, because I think the Seahawks, they do look pretty bad, to be honest. They had a good game against Carolina, but the Panthers, they won that game. It wasn't any luck, and I mean, realistically, 2-4 the Seahawks are right now, and they're a correct call away from being 1-5. 1-5. 2 years ago, Super Bowl champs. Last year, a play away from being two-time back-to-back Super Bowl champions. Now should be 1-5, but are 2-4. Something's wrong with the Seahawks. Now, last year they did get off to a bad start, and they were able to right the ship. I'm not so sure if they're going to be able to do that again. And then when you look at the rest of the NFC West, the 49ers, they're just not that good, nor are the Rams. So I do think the Cardinals will win their division, but I'm not really sold on the Cardinals being a legitimate team in regards to Super Bowl contenders. I don't know if I'm ready to put them into that category. I always seem to be late on the Cardinals bandwagon, on this is a real good team bandwagon. I'm just really not buying it again, especially when you lose like this to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that is pretty standout. But it's also a big statement for the Steelers. Now, obviously, they're, chasing the Bengals, but the Steelers, a wild card berth is definitely within reach. I definitely think, it's something that's in reach, and I could see, the Steelers making some serious noise with a healthy Big Ben. Martavis Bryant, amazing first game back, and they're winning games with Antonio Brown really not even being effective. So Big Ben comes back, and I think that this Steelers team is going to be, a scary team, especially because their defense, that was supposed to be one of the worst in the league, has looked real good, and I think that makes them very, very dangerous. Now the Kansas City Chiefs also, they take another loss. Their season kind of done. There's no hope for them really salvaging that. They're not catching the Broncos, who are unbeaten for that division. I think, right now I'm favoring, two teams coming out of the AFC East in the playoffs and two teams coming out of the AFC North in the playoffs. So definitely don't like the Chiefs odds, a team that I was definitely high on, but no way, shape, or form will the Chiefs be getting into the playoffs this year. Vikings, though, they have a chance. They have a chance out in the NFC. They're winning games, not impressively, but they have a lot of good pieces there. And if they do get hot, and if Teddy Bridgewater can win them some games, they might be able to make some noise. But I'm not sure how good they'll be. Cincinnati gets a win over Buffalo. The Bengals, to me, second best team in football so far. Patriots 1, Bengals 2. I see the Packers as 3. The Packers, I know they're undefeated, but they haven't been all too dominant. Phillip Rivers almost won a game by himself in Lambeau. He was down on the 5-yard line. Just made a bad throw that was intended to Danny Woodhead to tie it up, send it into overtime. He threw the ball 63 times, but I definitely think the Bengals are right now the second best team, and I think that they could be the best team in football. I think the Bengals are an extremely good team right now. Andy Dalton's been, quarterback 1 or quarterback 2. It's either him or Tom Brady. And quarterback 3 is Aaron Rodgers. Again, that just speaks to how important a quarterback is, obviously, in the National Football League, but I'm not uncovering any unknown stories there. So I think that that's just another comment to make. I did mention the Carolina win, which was big. Cam Newton is marching up into elite status. I'm not saying he's an elite quarterback yet. I know that is, for quarterbacks, like that is like the most coveted word to attach onto a quarterback. Elite. A lot of people, we're kind of said, oh, you're calling Andrew Luck elite too early. Apparently, those people were right, as he's not looked too good. Did look better. But I think Cam Newton could be on his way to be viewed as an elite quarterback in this league. 2 other games I do want to touch on this quick recap. Then we're going to go to break, come back, and I'll give you my pick'ems. The Patriots at Indianapolis. First half, great game. Really, really good game. New England were down. They were down at half. It looked like the Colts might have had something, but they didn't. You hate to say it, but they did not. They got their final. They got their only scoring play of the second half on a final drive made by Luck. They ran the worst play in the history of NFL, as it's being called. But I think it's there's a takeaway here from this game, and the takeaway is that I think maybe the Colts might start winning games a lot more convincingly than what they were. Currently sitting at 3-3. They played the Patriots, I think, much better than what anyone thought, considering how they were playing football. I think the Colts will look a lot better. The final game, though, was this Giants-Eagles game. A really good game, a heated battle, tough contest. Giants come out and dominated the Eagles. 7 points quick, and that's all they got. I know some people might be laughing at me calling it a really good game due to the way it was actually played. Extremely sloppy. 7 total turnovers. Sam Bradford throwing 3 interceptions. So obviously not giving it a credit into that, but it was a good game to watch, because the party always kind of felt like maybe the Giants offense was about to click and Philadelphia wasn't necessarily pulling away. But the big takeaway from this game, back-to-back games, DeMarco Murray has looked pretty good. I know the interception troubles were bad for Sam Bradford, but as a whole, the offense for the Eagles did look pretty good. They're now in first place in the NFC East. Their first consecutive wins of the season, 2 in a row with that win they had against the Saints the week prior. So the Eagles maybe going to be catching fire, a huge test for them next week, going to Carolina. And that is going to be the segue I take to close this segment. When we come back, we're going to be closing the show, bringing you the pick'ems for Week 7 of the NFL.